This is my very favorite story of a little horse called Hucklebones. It says my grandma gave it to me a long time ago. There he is. That's Hucklebones. And this is where he lived, on a pretty farm. Hucklebones was a jolly young horse with large twinkly blue eyes and a velvety black and white coat. He had a long white tail and a smooth white mane. He lived on a big farm in a comfortable gray barn with a shiny weather vane on top. See? That's it. One beautiful morning when the sun was just lifting its sleepy eyes over the purple hills, Hucklebones saw the postman's rattly car stop at the mailbox near the gray barn. The postman dropped something into the mailbox and drove on down the road, chug, chug, chuggity chug. Hucklebones cantered eagerly over to the mailbox, clippity-clop, clippity-clop, and stood on his hind legs and peered in. There in the mailbox was a big gray envelope, and will you believe it? Hucklebones' name was on the envelope. Yes, sir, it was addressed to Mr. Hucklebones, Esquire. Hucklebones opened the letter, and there inside was an invitation to the steeplechase ball, the biggest event of the year. Hucklebones pranced happily back to the gray barn, tossing his mane and swishing his long tail. He couldn't wait to tell the others. Suddenly, Hucklebones stopped stock still in his tracks. A dreadful thought had come to him. "Oh," he moaned, "oh dear, I won't be able to go to the steeplechase ball after all. They will dance the one-step, and I don't know how. Oh, whatever shall I do? I wish someone would tell me what to do." And he sat down in the long green grass with his head on his front hooves, while the other animals roamed contentedly about the barnyard. Hucklebones did know how to leap over a fence, and he could gallop almost as fast as the wind. He could canter around and around in a circle. He could trot down a hard-paved road. He knew how to braid his long tail with red and purple ribbons, but he did not know how to dance a one-step. Pinky's listening too. He could drink water from a pail without spotting his black and white coat. He could eat oats from a feed bag, and he could eat hay from a feed box, but he did not know how to dance a one-step. He could carry a rider over hills and down into valleys, and he could pull a wagon heavily loaded with eggs and milk and vegetables to the market in town, but he didn't know how to dance a one-step. "Oh," said Hucklebones, "if I could only think of something to do about it. I do so want to go to the ball just once. How beautiful it must be to see all the horses dancing, the big horses and the small ones, the brown horses and the black horses and the little spotted ponies, all of them dancing the one-step. It's the first time I've been invited and I can't go. I wish someone would tell me what to do." "Why, Hucklebones," said a gentle voice, "you aren't your jolly self today. Whatever is wrong?" Hucklebones turned to see kind old Mrs. Ooma the cow standing beside him. "Oh," he sobbed, "I've been invited to the steeplechase ball." "How wonderful," said old Mrs. Ooma gently. "But that should make you happy, and you are the saddest looking horse I've ever seen." That's probably true, isn't it? What do you think, Pinky? Pinky, kitty. "Yes, but I can't go," said Hucklebones, and he put his head down in his hands again and sobbed aloud while Mrs. Ooma tried to think why he was sad about it. Then he looked at kind Mrs. Ooma and said, "You see, there'll be dancing. I've heard the other horses tell about it. There'll be dancing, and they'll dance the one step, and I don't know how." Oh, he's terribly sad. There, mooed the kind old cow soothingly. "There's a dancing school in town. I've heard all about it. Why don't you go there? I'm sure they can teach you to dance." "Why, that's just what I shall do. It's an excellent idea," said Hucklebones, and he jumped up and cantered around Mrs. Ooma twice, just for luck. Then off he galloped down the road and through the woods. Down the hard-paved road he trotted, clippity-clop, clickety-clickety, his white mane waving in the morning breeze. There goes Hucklebones. Clippity-clickety. I'm not sure what Pinky's doing. I think she's having a bath. He trotted past the village church with its high pointed spire, past the post office and the general store, click, clop, clickety clickety, until at last he reached the dancing school at the far end of the town. He is beautiful, isn't he? Before Hucklebones went into the dancing school, he made certain that his beautiful white tail was straight and that his mane was lying smoothly along his neck. Hucklebones was very happy as he entered the dancing school and saw the dancing class keeping time to the music. Tum, tum, tiddly-pom. Around the room they danced, and it was a beautiful sight. But alas, although the dancing teacher tried very hard and held Hucklebones' hoof and stepped in time to the music, tum, tum, tiddly-pom, Hucklebones could not do it. No, sir, he couldn't learn to dance the one-step. He listened carefully to the tinkly tune the piano played. He watched the teacher as he stepped this way and that way, and he tried very hard to move each hoof separately, but Hucklebones just couldn't do it. Oh, dear. So back to the farm went Hucklebones. He didn't trot along the road. He didn't canter in a circle. And as for galloping through the woods, well, his heart just wasn't in it. What would he tell Mrs. Ooma? As he walked slowly through the woods to the farm, his head was hanging low and his white mane completely covered his eyes. He didn't see a large rabbit come skittering out of the bushes on the left of the road that led to the farm. See that, Bunny? How about you, Pinky? "Halt!" cried the rabbit in as big a voice as a rabbit can have, as Hucklebones stumbled sadly across the road. "Watch those hooves of yours! I'm moving my family to a new home. They are right behind me. Step carefully, please." Oop! Up went Hucklebones' head, and back went his long mane. "Whoops!" he snorted in astonishment as he looked at the road swarming with rabbits. There were rabbits everywhere. They scurried this way and that way around Hucklebones' front hooves and his back hooves. There were big rabbits and little rabbits, white rabbits and black rabbits and brown rabbits. There were gray rabbits and spotted rabbits, rabbits with pink eyes and rabbits with brown eyes, and each little rabbit had a soft white cotton blob of a tail. Very carefully, Hucklebones lifted his left front hoof, then his right back hoof, then his right front hoof and his left back hoof. He stepped more carefully than he had ever stepped in his whole life because he didn't want to hurt any of the rabbits. Of course, you know that horses wear iron shoes and they are very heavy and hard. 1, 2, 3, 4 went Hucklebones' hoofs. Step, 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 step. Suddenly, his ears went up, and his eyes grew wide, and his nose quivered wonderfully. One, 2, 3, 4. Step, 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 he cried excitedly. Why, I'm dancing! I'm really single-footing! I'm doing a one-step! And he really was dancing. In trying to avoid stepping on the rabbits, Hucklebones had learned to do what the dancing teacher could not teach him. Hucklebones had learned to dance the one-step. How wonderful! Hucklebones never had felt jollier than he did at that moment. He waited until the last soft white cotton blob of a tail had disappeared into the bushes, and then he galloped to the barn to tell Mrs. Uma. But now and then he stopped to practice stepping. 1, 2, 3, 4, just to be sure he hadn't forgotten the steps. When he reached the barn, he hurried to his stall, where he was busy all afternoon. He braided his tail with red and purple ribbons, and he brushed his coat with a bristly brush. Then he combed his beautiful white mane until it was smooth and glossy. He polished his iron shoes until they glistened. Then off he trotted to the steeplechase ball. Clip, clop, clickety, clickety, clippity, clop, clippity, clop. Oh, how very wonderful it was. Hucklebones watched the graceful dancers, the big horses and the small ones, the brown horses and the black horses and the little spotted ponies. But I have it straight from Mrs. Uma, who got it right from the mouth of the oldest horse at the ball, that the best one-step was done by Hucklebones. Yes, sir, there wasn't a doubt about it. Mr. Hucklebones, Esquire, was the very best dancer at the steeplechase ball. Yay for Hucklebones. The end. I love you.